Hey guys, welcome to another video on Budget with a July Dreamer. Today's video is my how I spend my paycheck video, where I will be talking about where my money went in the month of October, exactly how I spent the paychecks that I got in the month of October, and then we're going to quickly have a look at the month of November thus far. And then I'll also spend some time looking at the rest of November and what I have planned for the month of December. If you're new to my channel, you wouldn't know that I get paid in the middle of the month. And because of that, I budget a little bit differently. The budget recaps, which is this video today, contains the entire full month. But when I'm actually doing the budget preparatory video, I actually share with you exactly how it's looking like from when I get paid, which is in the middle of the month, through to the next middle of the month. I change these things up halfway through the year, although for you guys it doesn't really change too much, but for me it does, because those of you who watch my videos know that I write everything down, like everything down to the last penny when it comes to my money, to the last dream when it comes to my goals and my vision and all of that. So I like writing things down. So in the notebook, it has changed how I budget, but for you guys, probably nothing much has changed, because what you do see is still my budget trackers, the ones that I use. I do use two at the moment. One is my very own budget tracker that I sell on Etsy. The link is always in the description bar below. And the second one, which I will be presenting to you guys today, is the Ultimate Wealth Dashboard Planner, which I got on Etsy from Press Reset. It's I can't remember the name of the owner, but I'll put the name in this video if I remember, and I will be projecting that today. I have my trusted laptop here. I haven't done a screen record in forever and a day when it comes to my budget. Often I have been giving you guys snapshots of my budget, which is still something that I love to do, but today I was like, it's been a while, let's try and do it. So without further ado, I'm going to try and shrink myself to the corner as I start talking about the budget, the goals, the financial goals that I had, and all of that good jazz. And yeah, let's get on with it. Okay, so I haven't started the screen record yet. I am going to do that now. If you watch my videos, you know I always say now, purely because it's a marker for me when I'm editing the video. So anyway, as you can see on my screen, we're in the month of October, and what I love about the Press Reset Ultimate Wealth Dashboard Planner, the budget portion of it always comes with a monthly reminder. So for the month of October, it was water yourself with positivity and you will bloom. Couldn't agree more. I love each and every single monthly reminder that I included in the templates. It just perks me up, I personally think. Then if we move a little bit to the right of the tracker, then you will be able to see the top priorities that I set myself for the month of October, and then as you can see, top goals or whatever option I would have chosen. I don't have anything in this bucket purely because I didn't feel any need to include something that I had not thought about or planned. So for the month of October, I only had 4 priorities, and that was to celebrate Dad's birthday. Dad's birthday is in October, so we did do that. Book and attend my former reformer Pilates. I did do that. I go to Pilates. I want to say I started this year, but I could have started last year. I'm not really sure, but I go every single month with a friend of mine and absolutely love it for me. Then I reminded myself that in the month of October, my Flow app for tracking periods and all of that good jazz, annual renewal was coming up. So I tracked that. I always look at all of my subscriptions that are coming up in this budget tracker. Let me just go there if you allow me. I have written down every single subscription that I have. Some of them here, you can see that I have a total of 30, but some of them are for business, some of them are personal, but I track everything in one place. So I have a bunch of them, and then I make note across the year as we go. So I decided to cancel my Splitwise. This is an app that I use with my friends when like we go abroad and we're traveling, and then we put in what we spend and it auto calculates for us how much each person owes you. The free version is fine. The pro had a few bits that I liked, but honestly I don't use it enough to justify paying every single month. So I decided I'm gonna cancel that, and I did that. And then the ones that I've changed in red is because the price had gone up to what I previously had it in, or because I have downgraded. So that is what the red means. But I do have a lot of them, and I try to make in the renewal date tab, I often put the date, but these days I've started putting in whether I've paused, whether I've canceled, or whether I've downgraded. And this is something that I wanted to talk about quickly, in that for the month of October I sat down and really looked at all of these subscriptions, and I decided, what do I want to continue having, what do I want to pause, and what do I want to downgrade or cancel, and what have you. So that's exactly what I've done here. So things that I've got dates on them for next year, I'm definitely going to renew. Things that don't have dates in them because of a change, I've specified why that change, and all of that good jazz. So yeah, anyway, let us go back to the month of October, where we were talking about my top priorities. And then the other thing I just wanted to remind myself of was that I was starting my Japanese class, in-person class. So I've been practicing Japanese by myself on Duolingo coming up. It's been over a year now. I think I'm on day 437. If you have a Duolingo, it reminds you every single day, and I don't want to miss a streak. So I've been doing it for that long. And next month in the track, I've actually added for December that the Duolingo subscription is coming due. So I've reminded myself already of that, but I started in the month of October, and I'm so happy for myself. Like, I'm really so happy for myself. So anyway, those are the only top priorities that I had. I'm just going to quickly look in the planner to see if there's anything else. I think outside of making decisions on my subscriptions, whether to cancel, downgrade, or keep, I haven't really thought much about anything else in the month of October. I don't think I changed anything. So yeah, everything else just seems to be as I intended it to be. And on top of having the subscriptions tracked in this tracker, I also write them at the back of my budget section for this, so it kind of like it's a reminder for myself. I love having it that way. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go and look through my budget. Obviously you can already see that I budget everything of all of the income that I was estimating. This is how much is left over because I get paid in the middle of the month and I have bills coming up on the first of the next month. I always make sure I have at least 1,000. It used to be 2,500. Now anything about 1,500 is good for me to take into the new month. If we look at the overall numbers here, total income said it was over £14,000. Let me preface this by saying this is not normal for me, and this is not all of the income that came in. This actually came in from me selling some of my stocks in my general investment accounts. I talked about this in a video where I talked about restructuring my general investment account. So I sold, the money came in October. I sold in October, money came in October. So this is why I had such a large income in the month of October. Of that, over 2,000, just under 2,300, sorry, over 2,300 went to my bills. My expenses were just under 2,500. Total savings was 400, under £500, and we'll talk about that in more detail. I invested almost £7,000, and I sent just under £800 towards my debt. So let's look at the overall breakdown of this. So quickly, if I look at my income summary, I've covered this up for privacy reasons, but when we look at the total income, it's saying that I was able to bring in over 13,500, which is approximately almost 10,000 more than I normally bring in, apparently. So anyway, and I was expecting only 4,500. By the time I was creating the budget, I hadn't spoken to my financial advisor, and I didn't think about selling my stocks. So this is why I kind of lowball. I always lowball myself so that I can have extra money in my budget. So when it comes to my bills, nothing dramatic here. Everything was exactly as I had predicted, except for my mortgage. I decided to send a little bit extra, like £8.32 more than I normally do, which is great, and everything else was fine. The only thing that is different is for the travel insurance, because I made the decision that this is not something that I wanted to continue with. It's a subscription that I had with my bank, and I was paying $22.50. It's not something that, because I don't travel monthly anymore, it's no longer worth it for me. It's better for me to buy insurance as I travel. So I decided to cancel this, and because I canceled it in my bills, I still recorded it exactly how much it was that I had paid, because this is the amount that had come out. But then later on they reimbursed me part of this money, so I put that into income that came in for the month of October. But otherwise, everything else was exactly as I had predicted. If we go towards my investments, here is where we see a big change, which is for my Vanguard ISA. Everything that I'd sold in my general investment accounts, I decided I was going to send all of that to my ISA, because that's the whole point. I'm trying to max out my ISA, and the ISA limit is £20,000 every tax year. So I'm trying to max out the 2025 into 2026 tax year. So I budgeted 300, and I sent 8,200 of the money that had come in from me selling the stock. And the general investment account where I got the majority of the money was the work one, which I don't track in my budget trackers because everything happened before I get paid, so I don't include that in here. But I do include it in my net worth tracking when I'm tracking all of my numbers. And you can see Plum, I also sold some of the shares that I had. So some of the money that came in the month of October was over 1,600, and some of it came in November, which I've also sent towards my ISA. And you'll see that when we recap the month of November. But yeah, so majority of the money that I got from selling stocks, shares in my general investment accounts is what I sent towards my ISA, and I sent my standard 200 towards my SIP, because the goal is to max out the ISA. Next month you see that this is actually £100. I don't know if I've done it already for November. I may have, but yeah. So then for my LISA general investment account, I also took out some money from my general investment account. So I did send the £25, but then I ended up taking out £60 from that to send towards the ISA. So it ended up being minus £35. And then we've talked about the Plum. And then Monzo is also another ISA that I decided to close. I just didn't see any benefit with having an additional ISA. If I'm honest, I just wanted to stick to one. So I closed that, and it all got paid out in the month of November. So for October, I'm just showing you exactly what had happened with that account, which is I contributed £64.99. So that's on the investments. Predicted 650, ended up sending over just under £7,000, and yeah, Bob's your uncle. And then for debt, I currently only have one personal loan left to repay, and I'm slowly but surely paying this down. I budgeted 650. I actually ended up sending a little bit more. I sent just under £800, which is super. The other part that I want to quickly touch on is my savings and sinking funds. So with this one, my standing order that I have with my bank is to send £125 towards my emergency fund. So that did happen, but I also sent a little bit extra, as you can see, minus 75 here, because the actual amount I ended up sending was £200. And then vacation, we're not putting anything there. Next month I'm going on vacation, and I'll talk about this in a moment. I'm not saying where, but we'll talk about it in a moment. Sinking funds, I predicted I would send 50, but I ended up sending only £20. And then for Monzo 1p savings challenge, so this is saving 1p more every single day until, for me, my end date is the 13th of January 2026. I'm very excited about that. I budgeted roughly £86, which is roughly what came out. My 40th birthday in 2 years, well, in about 18 months or so, I projected £39. I only ended up putting £20. And then my AirPod Max, I put quite a bit of money because I wanted to fully max this out. I did max it out in October, but I did send as much as I could in the month of October, which was great. So when it comes to savings and sinking funds, projected 300, I sent £188.56 more than what I budgeted, which is just under £500, which is great for me. Now, where actually before I said I wanted to talk about vacation. So with vacation, like I said, I am going on a trip next month. And what I decided, because I already gifted myself the AirPod Max that I wanted to buy. You guys who've seen my videos already know that I bought the AirPod Max, but I run it through my business because I use it mostly for business related things, editing my videos, filming the videos, and all of that good jazz. I put it under my business as opposed to my personal expense, but we'll see what my accountant says. If we're gonna split the cost, then I'll put it in that month when we decide. But for now, it just went straight into my business expense. So because of that, the money that I was initially saving to get AirPod Max, I'm going to use it for something else. And I said that I was going to split between sending some towards that and some towards my holiday. So for my holiday, in the month of October, even though I didn't go anywhere, I did buy a plane ticket to travel in December. So that ticket cost me £41.56, which is great. It's a short weekend getaway with a friend of mine. So I'm very excited about that. But I kind of made a mental note that this 41.56, even though at the moment I run it through the budget, it came off of the previously AirPod Max money. So that's how I'm making note of it. And today when I'm filming this video, I also booked my airport parking. So I took a mental note to take out £60 from there to, when I say mental note, I mean I wrote it down. Because you guys know, I write everything down. Sometimes I'm so forgetful, so I wrote things down. So I've written it down already that we need to take that money from there. Whatever I'll be left with, I will throw, if not all of it, towards my debt, because I do want to pay this loan off as quickly as possible. So let's now talk properly about variable expenses. Variable expenses, I believe, is one section of the budget where you have an opportunity to make choices and also help you to save money or pay down debt, because this is just your everyday spending, things that you choose to spend on. So what I used to do in the past when I had a lot of debt was I would be like, okay, instead of spending the entire £200 that I have budgeted for groceries, I'll spend 150, and then I'll use the £50 and send it towards that. So I believe that that's the section in your budget that you can definitely alter and send it towards your financial goals. The rest of the bills, things like your main bills, unless you're switching providers and stuff like that, I don't think you can really make much difference there. Savings, you potentially could if you are trying to pause it, and investing, you can definitely pause that. But for me, variable expenses is where I feel I can make a bigger difference. But anyway, so in my variable expenses, I've got things like health and wellness. So this is my therapy, this is my wellness coach, this is swimming, Pilates, and everything in between comes out of this budget. I always budget between 400 and 500 pounds, and I spent under 400 pounds. So we love that. For me, travel, I didn't budget anything, but I've just explained I did buy a ticket. Groceries, I budget 200, but I went over a little bit by £5. Subscriptions, I budgeted 250 because I knew I had subscriptions coming due, and I ended up spending under in that category, which is great. Tithe and giving, I'm a Christian, I believe in giving, so I always try my best to give as much as I can. So I was able to give over 450, which is great. Fuel, I didn't really do much traveling in October, but I did have to fill up once. I always budget about 100, between 75 to 100 pounds, and I was able to fill up once full tank, and they came to 50 pounds 49. Transportation, so for me, this is like parking at the train station, taking the train into London, into Reading, into Oxford, into wherever I'm traveling to. So I always put that, and I didn't really use public transport that much. I think I only used parking, so I didn't really spend money there. And then restaurants and takeaway, your girl loves a good takeaway once a week. So I was budgeted about 75 to 100, and I spent 60 quid. Self-care, this can be, it's always between 150 to 500 pounds. When I'm getting my hair done, it's often 500, but I budgeted 150 in November because I wasn't doing anything, but I did overspend, and this wasn't to do with my hair per se. I did do my nails and all of that, but that normally cost me less than 70 pounds. But there was a lot of personal items that I wanted to buy for myself, so this is why it is high. Coffee and social, so when I meet up with my friends, we go out to eat and stuff like that. I always budget between 75 to 100, so I spent 55 pounds. Shopping, I budgeted 75. I overspent and I can't remember exactly what I bought, but a Stanley was one of them, but it was like 30 quid. I can't remember what else I bought. I did some shopping in TK Maxx for sure, but I don't know what else. So anyway, household, I budgeted 35. I did overspend a little bit here. I think I bought some cleaning items for my home. Miscellaneous, always have a miscellaneous in your budget. I budgeted 20 and for some reason I spent 47. And I think majority of miscellaneous is things that did not belong in any of these categories that I have. So I just threw it all there. Local adventures, when I do things near me with friends and stuff like that. Dental, I didn't have anything, and I just checked today. I don't have any other appointments for the rest of the year until January, so we're gonna budget for that in January. Property expenses, sometimes I do need to take money out from my own budget and send it towards my rental properties. I didn't have to do that, thankfully, in the month of October. Business expenses, like I said, I bought my AirPod Max and they were just about 500 pounds. So I spent a lot of money. I budgeted over 1,500 and I spent almost 2,500. So about 1,000 pounds more than what I budgeted, which is crazy. Even though I just did this whole spiel about this is one place where I could make a difference and send money toward. Yeah, I did YOLO in October, so let's leave it at that. But this is exactly where my money went in the month of October. And as you can see by the tracker, I did leave about 1,500 to take into the month of October. And in the month of October, this is what I used to pay all of the bills that come out between the 1st to the 7th of November. The second week, I barely have any bills. I think I have a subscription or two, and then until I get paid, I don't really have anything that come up. Let me stop sharing my screen, and now I'm just going to quickly have a look at how I am faring for the month of November. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my notebook here because I wrote everything down. So looking at all of the bills that come out between the 1st and the 7th, everything went through, not really much change there. Everything is exactly as I had budgeted. And then this week, so today is Sunday the 16th, the bills that I'd budgeted to come through have come through. And this is, like I said, I don't really have much, so that is like my Spotify came out, my iQIYI subscription came out, and I booked my swimming for next week. That is it. Everything else will come out from next week onwards, which is my mortgage, my investing, paying for therapy, paying for my Monzo loan, and all of that good jazz. So that's what is coming up in the new week. I do have a couple of things that come out as soon as I get paid, but the goal is to leave money in my account for the bills for the next month. And I always make sure I understand exactly what I'm playing with in the new month by checking previous month's budget, last year's budget, and subscriptions, and also checking my own plans. So I just ran out of storage on my previous phone, but what I was saying is everything that I had budgeted for in the month of October went through as I had expected. I did overspend, obviously, as you saw in my variable expenses. And then when it comes to the budget for the month of November, thus far, everything that I anticipated to come out has come out, and I got paid on Friday. And now we're just looking at the bills that are going to come out between the 15th of the month through to the 15th 14th of next month before I get paid. So that's what I use this notebook for, and everything is on track. I am going to leave some money in my account for the first week in December. And the other part that I wanted to cover in this video, but I'm now thinking maybe I should do a separate video, is that I was thinking of including in this video my Christmas budget, but I haven't actually broken down exactly how it's going to be. I do have a £250 budget for Christmas. I just don't know how I'm going to split that. I already know that I'm going to spend about £20 on my friend. We've agreed that our Christmas presents to each other for the month of December. I mean, you guys know what I mean, but it's going to be £20 each. So I'm gonna figure out what I'm going to get her. I already told her that I'm thinking I need a backpack. The one that I currently have does not actually fit my laptop, and I want one that does, but I don't want something that's too big, too bulky. So I'm gonna go check out TK Maxx and see what's there and then send that to her as something that I want for Christmas. I believe in giving gifts whereby I know exactly what you want and I get that for you than guessing, because I'm not the best at gift giving and knowing like what you want. I believe in giving gifts that you're actually going to use and don't have to use because I gave it to you. I want to gift you something that you actually want and will be using, so long as it's within my budget. So because, like I said, I haven't yet written down exactly how I'm going to spend the money that I have in the sinking fund I did save for Christmas. I am not going to fully include it in this budget video, but I am very excited for the rest of November. I was just looking at the calendar earlier and I was like, wow, today is exactly the halfway point, because in 2 weeks time it'll be the end of November. November will end on a Sunday and December will start on a Monday. And I was just like, this is crazy. And the next 2 weekends that are coming up, I'm completely busy and booked, and I was just like, I can't believe it. You guys know I always talk about this, that if I don't have a free weekend in a month, then it was an extremely busy month for me. And for me, a free weekend means both Saturday and Sunday are not occupied with anything. Every single weekend so far has been preoccupied with something. And yeah, I don't know, I was actually going to check my phone to see what I've done the 2 previous weekends. Like yesterday I did Pilates with a friend, last weekend I met up with a friend on Saturday, Sunday I went to church, today I did church online. Next weekend I'm seeing my best friends and I'm doing something on Sunday. Yes, with my best friend still. The final Sunday I'm also doing something. So I'm just like, yeah, November is so busy for me, like extremely busy. But that's just how I view it. I need to have at least a full weekend just to myself, to do nothing whatsoever. But anyway, that is today's video. I'm going to quickly edit the video and hopefully I'll make it live before 7 p.m. my time, local time. And yeah, so that is today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video real soon.